Hello and welcome to episode 22 of Baking Bread.li. In this episode, it's going to be another hopefully short one, and this one's going to be about housekeeping. Well, I believe the term is housekeeping. Maybe we should search that. We should do development and the term housekeeping. There's a lot of things about, let's do define. Define housekeeping. The management of household affairs. Operations such as maintenance or record keeping which facilitate productive work in an organization. That's quite a good description of it. We're going to do a little bit of tidying, but mostly adding stuff to improve how Bread.li functions. I was shown by a friend of mine how to improve a few of the commands that I'm using inside terminal. I'll give you a for example. For example, when I run Jekyll, I'm having to do bundle exec Jekyll serve -- watch, and then that runs the site. And it's kind of long. It's not very long, is it? It's easier. It could have been easier if it just said Jekyll serve, but that's because of all the bundler stuff and things like that. And with Npm, because we've got Npm we're using it to like manage a few things. We can actually use that to run like alias scripts and like make them shorter essentially by giving them an alias. And the person who showed me this was Robert Rhodes, so thanks for that. And he showed me the possibilities of what I could do with a few of the commands. There are a few commands in Npm which are like default. There's the ones that are like Npm install, Npm Test. There are a lot of things that just run regular commands in Npm, but you can also add on things to it, so it will run multiple things, and you can also just hijack them to use them for your own commands. At least that's what I've done. So if we switch over to, let's close that down, switch over to our issues, and you'll see that I've got this issue, and it's improve product installer process. And then I've got a gist here. And this is me experimenting with the package file in our project, and I've added extra scripts. So if I compare this to the scripts file, or the package.json file, currently it's just scripts and then test, and it's Jekyll serve and watch. And that was the thing that I put in when I did npm init, when we set up the project, like in episode 1 or 2 or something. And this doesn't accurately depict on what we would do to test the site. We've got Travis, and we've got that HTML proofer gem in the project now, so that can be used for testing. So if we switch back to here, and I'll just zoom in a little bit so you can see. If you see, we've got a new test script here, and what that does is uses the build thing with Jekyll, so you get an accurate build process from Jekyll, and then the HTML proof will proof that directory. So it will build the site and then run through it and go, everything looks okay in here, and it will prove it. And then we've got some other commands that are going on. So what we've done is I've made a list of aliases, and this is what these are down here, down this side. So all these different commands. And some of these you can just run by saying npm test or npm install. But others like Jekyll and Bundler are different. So you have to do npm run Bundler or npm run Jekyll, and that is because what I was just saying before, test is like a default command that's in npm, which I don't think is doing. As far as I'm aware, I don't think it's doing anything in our project, because we're not using npm to test, or well, we're not using it as part of the like full architecture. We're just like using it to run the commands and like manage stuff and things. It doesn't. The site actually runs on Ruby, ergo Jekyll, and that means that whatever those tests are doing in the background, they're just not doing anything. Correct me if I'm wrong. I might be wrong. So I've got a few in here that I've kind of whittled down on what we can, what we need, the essentials. So one is the test, so we can test stuff locally. Travis does that for us on commits, so that's a kind of added bonus. Jekyll, so I can do npm run Jekyll, and that saves me having to write that long command out all the time, and it gives an accurate depiction of what will happen when Jekyll runs on anybody's machine. I know that's only a couple of words there when you run it, but at least when people type in npm run Jekyll, it'll be exactly what I want them to run, and they'll get a more accurate result than maybe doing Jekyll serve, because I think that's like a different version to what's in the project. So it'll get the bundle version of Jekyll. It'll get the bundle version of Jekyll that's in our gem file, and then run it from there, as opposed to running it from the Jekyll that might be installed on their machine. And if that's slightly different, it could be a different result. I know that's really that's very picky, but it could make a difference. Bundler, this just installs everything. It saves them having to do the whole thing. I don't really need it. Others will probably need it just to save time. That'll just be npm install, so it won't have the run thing in there. It'll just say npm install, and that installs obviously the package. It installs Bower, and it installs Gulp, and it installs a couple of the other dependencies that are related to Gulp, as we've shown in the other videos. And then I've added onto the end of it, added right onto the end, it will run Bower install, and that will install all the dependencies that are in the bower.json file, which at the minute is just HTML5 shiv. So, it does that as well. And at a later date, it will add the rest in. It will just do it all in one go. I'm just going to have a drink. And final one is develop. Now, this is one that I had to look up and check about this. I did a bit of research on GitHub, because there was I think there was stuff for NPM on the kind of the concept of installing package managers or packages that are from NPM globally using the package.json file, and people wanted it, but I think the people who work on NPM, or the main contributors, did not want that in there, because they don't like the concept of a singular project installing something globally on the machine. From what I kind of gathered, it was maybe the thought of, if you were installing Chrome as an application on your laptop, you wouldn't want it to install Chrome OS onto it as well, you would want just the application. You just want that bit, and you want it contained in there. You don't want all these other bits and pieces adding it everywhere else. We often have that problem where you install something and it goes, oh, do you want the thing in the notifications bar? Oh, do you want it in the dock? Do you want notifications? And you're just like, no. I don't want anything unless I really need it, or I can be proved otherwise. Just give me that on its own, and I will choose whether to install stuff onto my machine or not. So that's what this is about, and this is optional, and I've called it develop. And it's called, so when you do npm run develop, it will be installing Bower globally and Gulp globally. So this is quite a intrusive command, and that's why I've made it optional. It's there to just save them installing them separately. If they're getting lazy and we're not getting lazy. If somebody wants to just use Bower just globally on their machine and they're happy to install it, then they can just run this and they'll install everything like I've got it on my machine. But otherwise they don't need to, because Bower and Gulp are actually running inside of the project, so they could run it via npm. So I think you can do npm run or npm Bower and then install something, or npm Gulp and then install something, or task manager or one of the tasks from Gulp. So they can do it inside the project, and that makes it project relevant. Whereas this is just like if you wanted to install the application globally. Anyway, that's enough of that. So this is in a gist, and back here I also did some note taking of the install process, and I've written it up here in the issue and probably filled it out a little bit more. So what I'm going to do is, firstly, I'm going to make sure that this is all matching up and this is the same. I'm just looking at the two and making sure they're all the same, but I think they are, because they haven't changed other than these few lines. So if I were to do this, go to the raw file, copy this like so, then place it into here like that. So now we've got all these commands in here. What I should now do is test this, make sure it's all okay. So what I should be able to do now in here, instead of doing bundle exec Jekyll serve -- watch, I should be able to do npm run Jekyll. Okay, and that's done it. It's actually running. So I should be able to then visit localhost 4000. There we go. All it is just an alias. I probably explained it quite badly and in a complicated way, but all they are is a list of aliases, and what we can do is we can then pin down an accurate running process for users. When I say user, I'm actually thinking about a developer. So like a developer using this application locally, they can then produce the exact same conditions I've got on my machine. And the whole site is now providing all its own tools and process in order for it to be running and to be developed on. And the only thing that the developer has to do is get their code editor and then install a couple of the things at the start, and then they've got everything there, and they can follow follow the documentation. It's all about creating accurate environments. That's what I'm thinking of. Anyway, how are we doing? 15 minutes. So all right, this isn't going to be very long. The only reason it might get long is because I'm not explaining this stuff very well. I'm kind of half explaining it and half trying to get it right in my mind. So yes, so we've got this in here, and then we've got this, and what I'm going to do is going to be clever about it. I'm going to copy this like this from the editing panel. Then what I do is then open up Bread.li, go down to the README, and maybe have a look on what we've got in here. So we've got our little badges. There are all the badges there. There's the title. Let's change that to a big B. And then what I'll do is I might just put that in a link and call that Bread.li, like that. And now we can get rid of this because it's being viewed. Local installation, local server command, cd into the Bread.li, Well, that's old now. This is the new one. And this new one I should probably go through and explain, which I have actually just explained in the other one from the scripts. So let's have a look at it in kind of context to like what the developer might do. So say the user is I keep saying user when I mean developer, but I suppose in concept it's kind of a similar thing. So say somebody is wanting to make a contribution to Bread.li. They can set it up like this. So the setup process is install Homebrew, and I've put a link to Homebrew. There are a few links in there. I won't click through on all of them. So they install Homebrew, then they install Npm. I'm going to zoom in actually so you can see a bit better. Yep, install Npm with Brew. So we're using Brew to like manage that one. And then we clone the repo. And then run, so we do npm run bundler, and that will install bundler and all the gems. So if we click through on this actually goes through to the gem file, and then that command will install all of these as well as bundler. And we've got another one called local development, and we've just done this. So npm run Jekyll, and that will run Jekyll and watch for changes. And we can just visit that URL, and we can even do that right now. And there we go. So that's the same as that one. Let's close them. And then package development. So what you do is npm install, and this will install power and gulp at the project level. Like we said before, it won't install it on the whole machine, it will install it into the project. And then in turn, it will install the bower dependencies, which this links through to the bower.json file. And at the minute, it's only HTML5 shiv. So I've linked to that line number in the hope that that will always be on that line number. May have to keep an eye on that. And then it says done. And then we've got an optional addition, like I said, the develop command. So npm run develop, and that will install all, it will install bower and gulp globally. So that's an optional addition. So, you know, if you're like me and you want to just run power normally or run gulp normally, then great, fine. But if you want to keep it at project level, you can, I believe. Let me double check this. What you could do is, I think you can do npm. Let's do npm gulp. Let's see what that does. Okay, npm run gulp. What's that doing there? Okay, well it's missing that command. Maybe you can do, can you do npm run gulp default? I need to look into that. In fact, we're 21 minutes in. I'm going to have a look. So run gulp at project level. Running gulp via npm. Let's see what this. Says about running another. Look, you can add gulp as a script into it, so you can then do npm roll. Right, okay. Well, you could then run that inside there. I bet that's the same for Bower. Run Bower. And this one's with grunt. Yeah. It's a rabbit hole for later. We'll go and find that out later. I'm the only person that's working on this, so that's kind of a package development thing. I would be probably tweaking that later if somebody said, I want to add a Bower dependency to the project. And be like, okay, well, this is an opportunity to find out if that actually works. That one's a bit of the rogue one, but at least it installs stuff and gets everything in place. It's just a matter of like being able to use Bower and Gulp properly. Luckily, we only have one thing that's using them too. So at a later date, that might need to be expanded on, which is another part of like going back to your project and housekeeping it. I've not benefited very much from, well, I think I have, but probably not noticed it. Maybe the good thing about documentation is when you don't notice it. So you barely check the documentation purely because it took you 5 seconds to work out what to do. You briefly looked at the documentation and you were gone, and that was it. So, but anyway, I'm an advocate of having good documentation, and then just improving the README. It doesn't take long, and all you have to do is just write down what you did, but in a clean manner. I'm just gonna have another drink. Right. So, and then lastly, we've got Npm Test, which is what we can do now. We can do Npm Test. Oh. HTML proof command not found. Oh. I've made an error. I think I know what the error is. And it's here. bundle exec. So we need to do bundle exec HTML proof. So let's try that again. Hey, there we go. So that's see how long that line is? So you've got bundle exec, Jekyll build, then bundle exec, HTML proof site. Now, somebody will say HTML proof will run Jekyll in the background, I think, if you do. No, it doesn't. You need to build the site before you do it. So it will have to be built. So we're using the accurate Jekyll build there to build it. And then the, was it underscore site directory, which is this, will exist. And it will be up to date. And then HTML proofer will go through it and check everything's fine and dandy. So cool. I should check whether everything's okay here. It looks all okay. I mean, I could run these other commands, but they're not gonna do anything. I wonder if I do npm install, it will do anything. It will install Bower. I think it did. I wonder if I do npm develop. Ooh. No, I need to do npm run develop. And that will install Bower and Gulp globally. But they're already there, so it's just gonna kind of go, and then overwrite them probably. And if this sits any longer on this screen again, like it did last time, I'm gonna cancel it. Yeah. Check the time, 27 minutes. Cool, did it. Okay, so I can type clear and it will clear it. It's pretty cool. I got that from Chris Coyer. Haha. Git status. Whoa, I did mean git status. So we've updated our package.json and our readme.md. And let's check. So you've got setting up, local development, package development, testing. Do you know what I'm going to do? And hopefully this will work. I'm going to do a little kind of contents page. Actually, we just want to do asterisks. So setting up, local development, testing. So we should do setting up, local development, whoops, package development, keep doing returns, and testing. And then what we can do is do alt and then bracket, escape that bracket, put the other brackets on there. And then what you can do is you can go like this, and this, and this, and this, and then what you can do is you can put links to them. Hopefully you guys are fairly familiar with Markdown, and you can see that what I'm doing is putting links on these, and I'm linking to hopefully the ID of each of these sections. Make sure I spelled that right. And because they're titled like that with that ID, they'll hopefully just like link to it. and I shall put contents. Wonder how that will look. We'll find out. So git commit package.json, and our message is adds new npm scripts for improved development. Git commit readme, and the message is new improved documentation for development. Improved documentation for development. Git push. I did not put the link to this issue. Damn. That's annoying. So maybe we should maybe do that in the pull request. Yeah, best way to do it. Let's check out our thing. Okay. Here's our new documentation. Got it all nice and tidy there. Kind of don't like that title. Or this big editing, this big line here. So what I can do is I can go into, where's the readme file? There it is. I can edit straight on GitHub. I like doing this. Let's try that. I think we'll go with that. Improves formatting. Look, we can closes. And we can do it here. What was it? 57. Closes 57. All right. Let's close that. And then go back to here, and then our issue has been closed. Yep, there we go. Great. So we've got an improved setup, and now we can click on these items, and they go down to each section. Now we've got a way of developing our site a bit easier. So instead of writing that whole long line, we can just do npm run Jekyll. And Jekyll comes alive and does it all and watches stuff, and then we've got a few other things up our sleeve. So if we wanted to update things or just do stuff a little bit quicker and a bit more accurately. And we've even got documentation to do it. So I'm going to pull that down. And that's that MD change, that markdown change. And that's about it. I hope that I explained that to you fairly well. If not, just check out the repo. Hopefully it might go a bit better in your mind. So if you pull it down and try a few of these commands, see if they work. Maybe follow the setup process and see if all that worked. Cool. Yeah, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks.